Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Good morning and welcome to Gunner Shot. Today we're going to have a look at Pralay and India's missile power. Well, might be a little incongruent because today morning the whole news is about Trump, his sanctions and oil in Pakistan and all that. But that we'll leave it for a little later. Maybe in the evening. In fact, in the evening we'll discuss this with, once things are clearer and people have formed their ideas, and rather than initial, reactions, knee-jerk reactions, we'll take a view in the evening. And in the evening, join us at 8 on P Gurus and Gunner Shot joint broadcast, where General Dushyant, self, and General Rajiv Narayanan will discuss this. But then we should never forget that taco can happen. Okay, but forget about Trump and tariffs and all that. Let's look at what is in hand. And, when all this is happening, 3 days back, we carried out a test fire of the Pralay. Okay. We did successful 2 test flights on the same day. And one was at the minimum range of Pralay and the other was at the maximum range of Pralay. And this was a user evaluation. Very important. Okay. And if you look at it a little further, Pralay is an indigenously developed solid propellant missile system. It's quasi-ballistic. It has state-of-the-art guidance, and it is very precise. And it is capable of carrying multiple warheads. The exact story people have not told us, but it's a matter of time that one of these days it will come out. That is why I spoke of this. You see, I'll get to it. So this is the firing. This is the old firing which was done earlier. This is just a clip which I'm showing so that you have an idea. It's a very clean takeoff and a very steady takeoff. And I'm sure, when the PIB has put out details that all parameters of both the tests were met, I go by that. And if there's one thing which we as Indians should be proud of is our missile capability. So today what we'll do is I'll go over Pralay in a bit of detail, because for those of you who not got full idea of it, and then I'll give you a glimpse of our missile power. Okay, and then you can think where we stand. That's the most important part of the whole story. Where do we stand, right? And my view is, look, okay, a lot of people say that we don't have adequate aircraft and all that, but we have missiles. And what is that which won the war for us in Op Sindoor? Missiles. So we have that power. That's what I want to put across to you today. Okay. Now this was fired off the Orissa coast. This was the area which is covered, all that, and that's a traditional place, ITR Chandipur, where it was fired. Not a big deal. So that you get an idea where it was fired 450 kilometers into the sea. Right. Now the thing is, this is the actual Pralay missile. If you see, actually this missile was, and the missile system was displayed during the last Republic Day. I still remember commenting on this whole story in TV9. That's a different story, but let's understand here. This missile system is mounted on a Ashok Leyland 12x12 high mobility vehicle. This is important, high mobility vehicle, because this is indigenous. Earlier, most of our systems were mounted on the ZEC origin Tatra vehicles. And Tatra, if you remember, about 8-10 years back, 10-12 years back, there was a scandal of people bribing and this and that, and Tatra went into a ban for 2 years, and then it came out a lot of problems, and slowly after that we have weaned away from Tatra and got on to indigenous launches. That is the important part of this missile. Then, as far as the missile itself is concerned, it has a payload of about 350 to 700 kg, solid fuel rocket motor. CEP is less than 10 meters. Okay, and that is important, very accurate. Then it's got various types of warhead, HE, fragmentation, penetration come blast, runway denial, everything. Which means, this is an alternative to BrahMos. This is an alternative to BrahMos. Okay, it's got a terminal speed of Mach 6, which is approximately double that of BrahMos. You can't catch it. It's going to be very difficult to hit it. And what are the targets you can go against? You can hit radar installations, command centers, airstrips, the works. And it's got a millimetric wave radar, seeker. Very good. So this is how it looks. What is there? It's a two-stage engine. It goes, the initial speed is 1 to 1.6 at launch, but terminal speeds go up. And how those terminal speeds go up, I'll just explain to you. Okay, that it's got a range of 150 to 500 kilometers, so it's a pretty long range. In terms of range, it's approximately the same as BrahMos. Okay, very low trajectory. Why it's low trajectory is because of its capability for being a maneuverable re-entry vehicle, MARV. I'll talk about MARV in 2 minutes. The rest is fine. All that. The thing here, which is explained or I put out, is it can change its path after covering certain range midair, and is difficult to be tracked. Okay, and it has the capability to defeat interceptor missiles. So that is another important thing that it can maneuver out. It can maneuver out. So how that capability is built in, no one will tell us. But the fact that it has some capability of that kind to evade incoming interception missiles gives it's a great missile, the way I look at it. Now, there's a rear view of the launcher, you can take 2 missiles. It's mobile, and it's got all capabilities. Now, the second part of the story, which is very important, is indigenization of the launcher capability. That has come of age in India, which means virtually any missile which you fire or you produce is capable of being put on a launcher and moved. And a launcher is a complicated animal, incidentally, right? It's not simple. It's not a simple thing. So the technologies involved in a launcher are pretty complicated. It's just not launching the missile system. It's also about communications. It's about location. It's about many other things. How you connect it with the satellites, and how you how do you camouflage them? Because you might have a missile. If you don't have a launcher, you're no good. Again, if the launcher is taken off, you're no good. So how do you defend it? So there are all a lot of technologies involved, a lot of tricks involved in this trade, which, from what I can make out, has been covered. That's the good part of this system. Now, Air Force has asked for 120 missiles, Army has asked for 230 missiles. Right? That's the initial order. My guess is this will result into 2 or 3 regiments each. Air Force might, with 60 missiles, 2 regiments, and with 230 missiles, there might be 4 to 5 regiments. Each regiment having, say, anything between 50 to 70 missiles. I'm giving a ballpark figure. These are nothing correct, right? I would say Air Force 120 missiles means 2 regiments with 60 missiles per regiment. And how many launchers per unit? Maybe 4, maybe 6. We'll see. That's a matter of organization, and that's a matter of how the armed forces want to deploy this missile. The interesting thing is, so far Navy has not got into it, but I think sooner than later we should start thinking of this missile for the Navy also. If not for the Navy, then the Army, and use it for our coastal protection. Because there it will come a combination of BrahMos, and this will give us rich dividends in protecting our coastline. Okay, what is a MARV? Everyone keeps asking what is a MARV. A MARV is a maneuverable re-entry vehicle. That is, it's a warhead which can change its course, its trajectory during the re-entry phase. Once a missile is fired, it comes into a re-entry phase, then it can change. It changes by using aerodynamic lift. It's something similar to an aircraft, but it's not a hypersonic glide vehicle. Remember, this is just the whole missile being maneuvered. A glide vehicle is a completely different animal, which we'll not talk of it today. Right. Once you have this maneuverable capability, it's hard to track the missile. And the trajectory is, unpredictable, and it is difficult to intercept. It's not only difficult to intercept that you can't make the target. What is the target you can hide? In a ballistic trajectory, you can track the missile and say, okay, extrapolate the target based on what it has traversed. And then you can say, this is the intended target. Once the trajectory is maneuverable like this, so you don't know where this target is heading or whether this missile is heading to which target. Where the target it is heading to is difficult. So how do you protect a target? Okay. So that's the thing. That's why I said it's harder to track the missile and it's difficult to intercept it. Right. And you can improve accuracy or even get on after moving targets. But the fact accuracy definitely will increase with maneuverability, all that. Though I'm saying that you can hit a moving target, but the question is difficult from a simple point of view is, would you like, I mean, whether that capability is required or not to put a missile 3 to 400 kilometers behind to pick a moving target about which you need to have absolute accurate information. So I don't give too much credence to hitting a moving target as much as I give credence to hitting targets in depth and hiding the target, I mean, the destination point. That's the more important part. Now, what is this MARV all about? Have a look in this. So, in a MARV, you have a boost phase where it is boosted. That's where it says 1 to 1.6 kilometers Mach. 1 to 1.6 Mach. So, in the boost phase, it goes up at 1 to 1.6 Mach. Then it goes into the mid-course phase, which is in space. It's gone out of the atmosphere. Then it does the re-entry. Now, the moment it does re-entry, it does gain speed. Why? Because the Earth is rotating at a particular speed. Okay, and this fellow is in midair, and I mean, I wouldn't say midair, in vacuum, in beyond the atmosphere, in stratosphere. So he gets a relative speed, which makes him go up to. You can maneuver it to go up to 5-6 Mach. So the moment you re-enter, the missile starts. I mean, is already at high speed, and then it comes. Some part of it is something like a glide, where you can not only once the re-entry takes place, every missile or even if it's a ballistic missile or a glide vehicle or anything, it is gliding. It's coming on its own. It's in the coasting along. The only thing is this has a few wings by which you can maneuver it a bit. And the moment you maneuver it a bit, then the interceptor doesn't know what to do. Right? And you also don't know where the target is. And dipping the missile to alter the range is the simplest. Steering it right left is a little difficult affair, but making it dip or keeping that altitude going to get another range is easier. It's like an aircraft, really. And then, of course, you have a terminal phase. You can home on to the target. Now the point is, when you're homing onto the target, all four wings, you can actually steer it better. It's easier to steer. Okay. Though the times in that is very less, it's easier to steer. I'm now talking technically. Okay. So this has, I'm sure, people who have developed it have looked into all this. It that this capability makes this missile a deadly missile. It's a new and a potent entry into our system. Okay, how does it affect us along the northern border? See, the Pakistan border I'm not bothered about because Pakistan has got a depth of only 400 kilometers. You can fire this from anywhere and it will cross Pakistan. And virtually the length and breadth of Pakistan you can engage by multiple vectors. We're now looking at this place. Now, when you look at it, you see there's a spine which comes from Qinghai into Lhasa. That's the QTR railroad and the central highway. And then there's one road which is normally called the Western Express Highway from Lhasa to Kashgar and Hotan, and one which goes from Lhasa to Ningchi and on to Yunnan. That's called also the Yunnan Highway. So the point is, in Tibet, the PLA has to come only on these routes. There's no third route. There are two link routes which go in the depth. There's one link route here. There's one alternate alignment to the eastern thing somewhere here. But they're marginal roads. They're not that great. And you can't deploy there and reach India easily. That means if you deploy in depth and you're trying to reach India, most of your range is covered within your own territory. So deployment there makes no sense for China. It is this. And most of their troops have to come on these roads. So if you can do anything to these roads, movement of troops here and interdict them, then you're won the day. And that's where this comes into play. For example, Ladakh, that is Leh to Hotan, is 350 kilometers as the crow flies. And this missile has that range. So you can fire it from Leh and hit Hotan. Hotan is one of their main bases, main air bases. And Hotan is important for them for any operations here, because they have one here in this area. Okay. And another here. For entire Western Ladakh, or rather, Eastern Ladakh and Demchok area and Aksai Chin area, they have only two air bases. The Chinese. One is in high altitude and the other is in Hotan. The high altitude one is at Nagari. Okay. So if you can tackle these two air bases, like we did with Nurkan, or for that matter, Sargoda and things like that, but Chinese Air Force is down. So any operations here, they're out. Now what happens? 350 kilometers, you can deploy it anywhere out of this Leh and all that, and you can fire and you can take out Hotan, Kashgar and Nagari. So the Chinese Air Force is stuck. The same thing, if you flip this side, you can hit Skardu. So the four airfields in this area you can neutralize with this missile. And add to that, you have BrahMos also. I mean, let's not forget, BrahMos is also there. So these four, the combination of BrahMos and Pralay tomorrow, whenever it is inducted, my guess is you can handle all this. The next thing is, if you have this kind of range, you have everything, and look at what happened in Op Sindoor. Our success in Op Sindoor was more due to the BrahMos. Okay. So if everyone says, what happens if you don't have stealth aircraft, this aircraft, that aircraft? You have these. Offset it. Anyway, during Op Sindoor, or for that matter in the Russia Ops, how much of earlier, old type of air warfare happened where diving and sorting out ground targets and all happened? Russia has not used. Even we have not used. The air defense environment is so high that you would not like to use a standard fighter. So in which case, why not missiles? That's the point. Okay. And when you look at, say, north of Bhutan to Lhasa, the distance is only 200 kilometers. Period. In fact, with this range, even if you're standoff and go, you can fire from the planes and still hit. Especially in the east, you can fire from the planes. You don't have to take this huge, uh, you know, equipment up in the mountains. You can fire from the planes where you have more deployment. You can hide everything, and he can't detect you in the jungles that side. And you can fire and engage any target. That's the advantage we have. Whereas he has to come in the open, in a place where there's not much deployment capability. I mean, that's the hard reality of terrain. So, combination of terrain, this new missile, and availability of yet another vector apart from BrahMos gives you tremendous payoffs. So that's a big addition, right? All you look at this, all these airports, these are civil airports. Okay, in the east there's only one at Ali, that is Nagari. So they're all gone. I mean, all gone means they're all covered, and all the infrastructure which is there will come under the grip of this. I mean, I'm not interested in the infrastructure against Tajikistan and all. Opposite or areas, right? They are in target. They are in range. So that's what. I mean, again, I repeat. We already had BrahMos, which goes up to here. Now you have another. So they're complementing each other. Right. Now the point is, there's a tendency for us to compare what China has and what we have. People talk of DF-17 and DF-21. Now, DF-17 is a glide vehicle, hypersonic glide vehicle. You can see from here, right? It's a glide vehicle. This is a glider, and this is a ballistic missile. Both are high speed, deadly. These are supposed to be carrier killers. That's what they say. But my way of looking at it is slightly different. Why should you compare what you have with theirs? Theirs is for their requirement, ours is for our requirement. Whatever we make, does it suit our requirement? If it suits our requirement, we shouldn't bother. As simple as that. And I think it is this thing. And more importantly, now when I talk further, hereafter I'll talk about what is the net missile power we have to give you an overview, right? That we have what we have to need to have. This picture on the right is the hypersonic missile test which we did earlier, right? So I'll give you an overview of the progress we've had. Last year in November 17, 2024, we carried out the
3, 2, 1, now.
So, what did it prove? It proved that we had the missile capability, hypersonic capability. We've test fired it. Okay, we've test fired our hypersonic missile, and that had a range of 1,500 kilometers. Now, what does that mean effectively on ground? And fundamentally, this hypersonic system is not for ground targets, though you can use it for ground targets. There's no problem in it. It is more meant for covering the IOR, right? And I spoke of this earlier also. In fact, if you go back in Ganashot, you'll find videos. Largely, what I'm speaking is from that data, because data doesn't change. It's the same missile, same Indian Ocean, things like that. What does this missile help us? Now, this is the 1,500 kilometers. So if you put it at the tip of Kanyakumari, this is the arc you get. And if you put it, say, on the eastern coast somewhere, you get this arc. If you take it somewhere near Calcutta, Orissa and all, you'll get further. I'm talking of the hypersonic, not Pralay. Okay. And if you go to the run of Kutch and fire, you will reach Dukum and Oman and all that. Of course, Godar also comes in. So your ability with the hypersonic system which we have developed, it's not been inducted. You have the technology. I'm sure people are in the process of inducting. I think this year you'll start hearing more tests on this. That's my sense. It's not official. That's my sense. So this is the vast swath of ocean, Indian Ocean, you can cover from your mainland. That's the important. And it goes up to Andaman Nicobar. So whatever, if there's a problem in Andaman Nicobar, from here you can fire this. Now, you have to compare this with what the Chinese capability has. China has a capability of those DF-1, DF-17 have a capability of 2,500 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers more than us. There's no doubt. But China has a poor geography. China has a poor geography. You see, it's flattened into the ocean. But whereas the Indian peninsula juts into the ocean. So what does it do? At 2,500, this is the arc you get. Yeah, you barely cover the second island chain, which is important. But with 1,500, because you get virtually the Indian peninsula gives you greater range, your reach is more. And with the one which I showed you earlier, okay, now if I put this missile system on the Andaman Nicobar Islands, I can go across into South China Sea. Right? Your influence is increased, your reach is increased. Right? That is something which we have to understand. The missile range ours might be less of the hypersonic, but efficacy is the same because you're using terrain. And that is where terrain becomes very important in all these operations. Okay, now what are the other missiles we have? I'll give you a snapshot of what all we have so that you have. On 27 September 2024, just this has gone under the radar. We fired the K4 from INS Arigat. Submarine launched. You did the submarine launch. It gives you a tremendous capability. It is part of operationalization of the triad. What is a K4? A K4 is a modified Agni. Agni, which is modified for a submarine launch, is K4. Look at the range. It's got a range of 3,500 kilometers in a warhead of 2,000 kg. It's a submarine launched ballistic missile. And we're going to fire the K5 also very shortly. It's a matter of time. Right. Now, K5 is the one with the MIRV. We'll talk of the MIRV shortly. So what does this give you? It gives you, the triad gives you the capability of going anywhere and firing from anywhere. So even if you don't have a range of 3,500 kilometers with the submarine, and if we fit it into a nuclear submarine, you can go off the coast of China and threaten China. So your second strike capability increases. That's the thing. Survivability increases. And then I'm going to be a little up and down. This is a clip of a Pinaka. Right. What is this clip? This is the firing of the extended range pin. This is, if you see, right? In a matter of about 20 seconds, this clip is about 20 seconds. In about 15 seconds, you put out 4 from one launcher. Okay. Each has 12. Each launcher has 12, capability of firing 12. So just think, in 1 minute, you fire 12 from one launcher. A regiment has 18 launchers. So you can see the volume of firepower it will go. And this is an extended range Pinaka. And this has a range of 70 kilometers or 80 kilometers. And this is increasing by the day. As your trajectory calculations and your trials increase and your the missile itself, structural analysis of the missile increases, the range increases. You don't have to do anything. It's a matter of reiterating certain issues, which is happening. I'll not talk more than that because I know what they're doing. Now the thing is, why I have shown this? France wants this. So after Op Sindoor, we are talking of you know BrahMos and Akash. But before Op Sindoor, France wanted Pinaka. It's a tactical weapon system, very good, light. It can go wherever in high altitudes it can go. So this complements BrahMos and Pralay, especially in high altitudes, because the nearer targets it can take out, and it can get a volume of fire, a very heavy volume of fire, much heavier than Pralay or BrahMos. Okay, like I told you, 18 launches in a regiment, 18 into 12, you can think of. I think something like 180 plus 36. Okay, 216 in one go. If you have target, it will get hit. And you have the capability of, this extended range has guidance capability. And it is very precise. I know it. Okay. Then last year, you did in last March, you carried out Agni-5 trials. Okay. Now, Agni-5 is a MIRV. What is a MIRV? Multiple Independent Re-entry Vehicle. The difference, you see, you will always get confused between MARV and MIRV. MARV is maneuverable re-entry vehicle. It is only one piece, it gets in and it maneuvers. Whereas a MIRV or a multiple independently re-entry vehicle comes in as one, splits and goes as 5 and hits 5 targets. It could be 5, 10, 3, I don't know. But Agni-5 is a 3-stage intercontinental ballistic missile. It has a range of 5,000 kilometers. With 5,000 kilometers, you can go where you have to go. Just giving you. Okay. And with a multiple independently targeted re-entry vehicle, you can take on 4 to 5 to 7 targets simultaneously, depending on the kind of warhead, which no one will tell us. And they could be nuclear or non-nuclear. So it's a huge addition. Right? This is the firing of Agni. And this is available in the net. There's nothing secret. It's all available in the net. This is all available in Twitter. You put Agni firing in Twitter, you'll get this clip. Okay. So it's a very powerful missile. And let me brag a bit. My part of the bragging is way back in 1988-89. I was posted in the DRDL. I was part of the IGM-DP. I was in Prithvi Directorate. But then later, when the first Agni firing was to take place, they said you go and work with Agni. So I worked with Agni. I coordinated the first Agni launch in this country. I'm very proud of it. Okay, I still can't think. That was the time when Dr. Abdul Kalam was my director. I had a one-to-one dealing with him. Dr. Arunachalam was the scientific advisor. In fact, the first award I got in my life was there. I still have it. Maybe someday I'll show it to you. It was a commendation certificate from the scientific advisor. I got it then. So those are different days. Okay. Right. Now, we also tested the Nirbhay cruise missile on 18th April. This is the Nirbhay cruise missile. Right. What range and all will come to it. It's a very steady missile. Okay. And then last year, actually, we did a lot of tests. This test was carried out on 1st May, where we did a supersonic missile-assisted release of a torpedo system. So it's a torpedo system which is released through a missile and supersonic. And we tested this. I don't know whether it's operational or not, but this is a significant thing because it's a different kind of a animal altogether. So you launch a missile, the missile takes off, goes to some distance, then it dips into the water, and then from there the torpedo takes off. That's the thing. And it's supersonic. Look, once it enters the water, it will slow down. That's a different story. Okay. It's a canister-based missile system. It's got several advanced subsystems. It's got a two-stage solid propulsion system. It's got an electromagnetic mechanical actuator system, precision inertial navigation system. It carries advanced lightweight torpedo as payload with parachute release system. That means what? You fire a missile either from a ship or mostly from a ship. It goes to a distance. From there, a parachute ejects, and the torpedo gets released and goes underwater and hits the target. It's pretty fancy, right? We've done this test. Then we have BrahMos. Last year, we tested repeatedly how to put a BrahMos on Sukhais, right? And first, of course, we did this way back in 2016, but we have improved it quite a bit, and it's proved its utility in Off Sindoor. And this is the launch of a look from an aircraft. It's dropped, the BrahMos has dropped, then it takes off. And this is what would have happened in Off Sindoor. I just thought I'll give you an idea. And we also have this Akash. Everyone says Akash, with a range of 350 kilometers, 3.6 Mach, and 15 kg. They're not Akash, Astra. Astra we've got a range of 350 kilometers air to air, right? Tremendous thing. Okay. Then, of course, you have Akash. Akash has got a range of 25 kilometers, 2.5 Mach, and a warhead capacity of 60 kg. That's good enough to knock a aircraft off. 2.5 Mach is very good. You can have the best aircraft, but when the chap is coming into dive mode or attack mode and all, he can't fly more than one Mach, 1.1, 1.2, because the more lower he comes, it's more difficult for him to go supersonic and maneuver. So if you have 2.5 times, this chap is going at 2.5 times that incoming aircraft, the chances of catching him are very good. So have a look at the firing. This is the firing of a Akash. Very steady missile, very capable to take turns, very fast. And this is just the Akash missile. But if you look at the whole system, it's got a tracking radar, it's got a surveillance radar, it's got a tracking radar. The surveillance radar tracks the incoming aircraft, or rather gets hold of the incoming aircraft, and the tracking radar tracks that incoming aircraft and then gives input to the Akash, and then Akash takes off and then homes on to the target. So it's a very good thing. So we have this, right? And look, all these clips are from open sources. Nothing. This is in fact from Sputnik. Okay, and then we have this Rudra. What is Rudra M? It is an anti-radiation missile. It is an anti-radiation missile based on Russian technology. It's got a range of 300 kilometers, 5 Mach, and a warhead capacity of 200. So, do you think Rudra was used during Op Sindoor? I don't know, because no one has told us. Okay. But it's anti-radiation missile, so anything which, we've said, we've bypassed Chinese systems and hit them and all that. Maybe Rudra was used. Okay. Now, when you look at the whole ballistic missile and cruise missile program of India, okay, these are the things which, again, this is from CSIS. These are the ranges and everything which is given. Now, I want to put two things. Pralay, where does Pralay come in? It comes between Prithvi and Agni. It fills a gap. And Nirbhay comes here. Okay, between Agni and, Agni 1 and Agni 2. These are gap fillers. And of course, BrahMos comes in between in this range only, between Prithvi and Agni-1. So these, what happens is that you have filled gaps in your system with these new systems, which is very important. And just to give you an idea, what is nearby? Nearby has a, you know, it's got a payload of 450 kg turbojet. It's got a range of 1,000 kilometers, 800 to 1,000 kilometers, subsonic cruise missile. So with nearby, you have a supersonic cruise missile in BrahMos and a subsonic cruise missile at 1,000 kilometers. So you have two kinds of missiles. You covered the whole spectrum actually, right? And then you have the BrahMos, of course. And as per this, the BrahMos has about 400 kg, 400 kilometer range. Yeah, here, what does he say? Propulsion range. Where's the range in this? Yeah, range he says 3 to 500 kilometers, 290. It's more than 290. It's more than 400. In fact, by now it must be 700. Is that, like I said, in a missile system, you don't have to do anything. You just have to reiterate your equations to see if this missile system can sustain itself till 700. It's the structural efficacy which you are looking at. And if that structural efficacy is good, the missile is good to go. But that doesn't come in the initial stages. It comes as you keep using it and you keep developing it, you put new things into it. The missile system ranges increase. That's how these ranges have increased without much, with a few software, developments and all that. So overall, if you see, this is the range of our missile systems, and I'm not covered all. I've deliberately not covered all. I remember someone asking me, "Sir, can you cover all this, to us?" I said, "Yeah, why not? I mean, we need to get an overview of the missile systems we have and the rockets we have." I said, "Fine, no problems, I'll do it." That's why I've done it, and I've done it because Pralay has been recently fired, and if that enters service, boy, we are in a different thing. And that is why I, if you see, I'll go back. Give me a minute. My initial, uh, as usual, my thumbnail. 1 minute. I have to go back to the, yeah. Here we come. See, look at the thumbnail. I'm sure there's someone across the border who's worried about this development, right? I think India has come a long way with this Pralay. I hope you'll all like this video and this explanation about Pralay and our entire missile system and how Pralay adds to our capability. Okay. And the good part is this is there. This is ours. No one can, we have this technology 100%. So this is part of our air power. Air power has expanded into all this. So we are good to go. Right? I have no issues with whatever we have or don't have. We are proud of it. Right. With this, thanks a lot for attending. If you like this video, do press the like button. Also consider subscribing to the Gunner Shot and join as members. I'll be very grateful to all of you. And again, I remind, in the evening we'll talk of Trump tariffs and XYZ. That's at 8 o'clock in the evening. We'll have General Dushyant, General Rajiv Narayanan, and Mr. Shri Iyer. All of us will have a talk. It's an interesting thing. It's going to be, we'll see what happens with Trump and company. Okay, let me take some questions. At the outset, thanks a lot, Geet, for your contribution. And Gaurav, thanks a lot for gifting 5 Gunner Shot memberships to whomever you have given. And my request is those people who have been given this membership, do take it on. And I would request you to sustain this membership. And of course, thanks a lot for Jinka Mamu for gifting 1 membership. Please do, all of you, sustain this. Right. So We'll not talk of America, we'll not talk of today, we'll not talk of China, we'll not talk of things, we'll talk of missile systems. And we'll not talk of Trump and his stories. Evening, it's there, we'll do it. Yeah. Thanks for sharing the knowledge. Is it possible for you to share information regarding the nuclear weapon layer loadout that we have? No. Firstly, I don't know. And secondly, even if I know, I don't think we should talk of it. Remember, we have capability. We have the delivery systems. I've told you about the delivery systems. We have the warheads also. Okay, now let me go to everyone. Good morning. Thanks a lot, Hans, for joining in. MK Sundaram, thanks a lot. Olakun, thanks. But this question of yours will take in the evening. Right? Akash also, good morning. Jai Hind and Jai Bharat. And I've thanked Geet already. And Karthik, good morning. Yeah. And good morning to Kiran and SH. Ajay Engar. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining, and Rohan also thanks a lot. And yeah, and Vasu Iyengar and Rohan, good morning to you. Yeah, 107 Mehtar says 107 countries lining up to buy Indian missiles. Even demand is so high that we are selling them. No, I don't think that will happen. That we'll ever have to sell on Amazon, but the demand is high. But my way of looking at it is slightly different. We shouldn't be in a hurry to sell these weapon systems because we have limited production capabilities. Uh, Given the fact that we don't have that many aircraft, we should up the missile capability. That's been my view for the past 4 or 5 years. Lofi says, good morning. Thanks a lot. Trump tariff in the evening. Uh, Pralay is going to be considered as a part of artillery. Yes, there's no one else. It's not a nuclear warhead, incidentally. It's a standard warhead. Yeah, Mrs. Claire, thanks a lot. Jai Hind. And Avinash also says good morning. And yeah. PM said 1,000 missiles were fired at us, which we tackled. It speaks highly of our offensive as well as defense. Yes, I agree with you completely. The thing is, it's a mixture of drones and missiles which were fired at us across the border, across the 3,000-kilometer border. Uh, it's actually not much if you look at it. Those across 3,000 kilometers, if you fire 1,000, it's about 3 to 4 per kilometer. That density is not so great. Maybe at places it was concentrated 50, 60, 100, maybe 200. Right at the place where felt that wanted a decision. Either they malfunctioned or we brought them down. I think we've done a good job, but there's a need to do better. We should never sit happy with whatever has happened. There is something which we need to do much better. Always. Okay. KD Raya, good morning and namaskaram. Ramki also, good morning. Yeah, with a terminal speed of 6.1 Mach after launch, time to target would be in seconds, not seconds exactly, minutes. Like I told you, the first half going up, it's up in 1 to 1.6 Mach. So coming down, it is top speed, take gain speed. Ravichandran Gopalan, good morning. Yeah. Kiran, difference between Pralay and Iskandar. Look, for me, it doesn't matter what's the difference. I told you why. When I compared this with the DF-17 and DF-21, they're supposed to be the ace of the pack for the Chinese. They cover the same area as what it happens to us. So we have to not offset our missile capability against his missile capability. Our missile capability is to take on their targets, not their missile capability. The wrong way of comparison is two missiles. And missiles and any system which you use is based on your terrain. China's terrain is different, Russia's terrain is different, our terrain is different, American terrain is different, or your operational terrain. So don't get into that. Yeah, what is the status of Progress AD and yeah, both in and out? Is it integrated into IACS and how is our BMD program going? We are progressing well. Don't worry. I really don't know the exact details. I'll be very honest. I'll have to find out, but I think we are doing well. I don't see any problem in this story. Yeah, we have expertise now. We should look at missiles which can carry payload that can be fired from missile. After completion, the missile, no, reusable missiles are too far out. It's, it doesn't. See, the other thing is, even if you get the reusable missile back, what do you do with it? You have to again fill it. You can't do it in field. Okay. Yeah. Can you explain scenarios where Pralay will be useful and pop? I explained to you, Ankit, along the across the Tibetan border. Very good. Yeah, I've given you some comparison, Rohan, but more than that is not needed. Let me see. Yeah, Yogesh says, Namaskar to all viewers. Please click the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, turn on all notifications, become members, and share videos. Please do so. Yeah, Sylvia says, Good morning, dear General Shankar. Same to you. Good morning, Sylvia. Oh, good evening, Sylvia. You're coming from the other side of the earth. Partial space entry implies Pralay can be used to target satellites. Is that no? Not this. You can't. You can't use it there. Hmm. I like this. Pakistan should be more careful. Careful if Trump says he's going to help. We'll discuss in the evening. Can this target aircraft carriers? Yes, of course. Of course. That's why I said moving targets, no? Moving targets. Yeah, Amitesh, good morning. And yeah, there's some. Yeah. Can Pralay be integrated into submarines? I don't think as yet they can. But that's why I said Navy has not come into the deal. But I suppose it's a matter of time. I think Pralay is a byproduct of program AD. Yeah, see, it's like this. Every missile is a byproduct of something else. Because you have the technology. The difference between an AD missile and a ground to ground missile is very marginal. A ground to ground missile needs speed, all that. So does the AD missile. The AD missile needs more maneuverability. Now the thing is, AD missile doesn't have to go outside. It doesn't have to go outside. It's not a ballistic quasi-ballistic trajectory. It has to be in low altitudes largely. Whereas these have to go out of the atmosphere. Right. Why is China interested in Mariana Trench and is it digging in that? I'll have to check what they're doing there because yeah. Why does Pralay have a CEP of 10 meter versus CEP for 1 meter for BrahMos? Is it due to trade-off with maneuverability? To some extent, yes. And it's also a matter of the construct of the missile, how the missile is constructed. Again, this is initial 10-meter CEP. As you go ahead, like I told you, if you once you see when you do iteration, why this CEP is important, or how do you improve the CEP? CEP will come into the play if you can maneuver the missile. Now the point is, if you maneuver the missile too much, okay, it tends to break structurally. So it's a matter of structural strength when you want to maneuver the missile. But that's with the given structural strength and iterative test called HILS, right? Hardware in loop simulation. You come to the ultimate envelope of the missile, and then you can probably decrease the CEP. This is it's not going to be easy. The next thing is you have to understand. Pralay is a chap who goes out of the atmosphere and comes back. BrahMos is a cruise missile. So there is a difference in the two. Okay. So technologies change. Won't the scramjet artillery ammunition also be used for road denial? Yes. I'll come to that in the end. In fact, you have today a plethora of equipment, right? Right from guns, rockets, motors, everything you have, and it's a packet. You have to consider those whole thing as a packet. I think I forgot to show that slide to you people. Let me now show that slide. 1 minute. I'm flipping. Yeah, this part of the slide I forgot to show. See, your firepower which you have is a combination of guns, Pinaka, Smirch, BrahMos, Pralay, and nearby. I'm just talking from the ground perspective. So you have a layered kind of a capability to bring fire down on the enemy. That is important. Okay. Yeah, Pinaka gives me goosebumps, Step of Legends. Yes, I agree with you. Name a cruise missile which moves very close to the ground with maneuverable capability. Yep, nearby. Tomahawk. All these. Even BrahMos, you can cruise it at lower altitude. The only problem is when you go down to low altitude, the speed drops. That's all. The ground huggers or the TERCOM, terrain contour matching systems, which nearby has, hug the ground, and they go slow. Why do they go slow? Because then you can recognize the terrain features as you go. Right? You have to recognize the path, and for that you need a little time. You can't be at high speed. Okay, because you're doing terrain contour matching. Right, and it needs better stability, and for that you need to go at subsonic speeds, hug the terrain. The French probably threw us a biscuit to ensure the Rafale deal goes through because they dropped the order afterwards. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Deals are good. We don't know. I really don't know. They will need it. They might come back. Yeah. Yeah. Saturation fire on enemy tactical targets would mobilize them effectively while not necessarily requiring our own boots on the ground in target area. Completely agree with you. Yeah, Ramki Ramkrishnan says, you were there, sir. I served with 333. That's for those of you who don't know, 333 was our 3 missile system. Those days, I was a young major when I started my journey in this missile business. Is each individual RV in a Agni-5 MIRV capable of MARV behavior? I think so. Because they're independently targetable re-entry vehicles. So they go to 5 different targets. So they have to maneuver. Okay. Recent data leak revealed PL-15 and PL-17 missiles are much lower range. Yeah, I agree with you. I only said this. They have a single thrust motor. It's not a dual thrust motor. PL-15. So the range which PL-15 has claimed is not there. They claim some 150 kilometers. It can't go more than 80 kilometers. Yeah, thank you, India. Philippines has received second batch of BrahMos missile launches. Good. Yeah, today's session is blockbuster. Thank you, Ashish. So nice of you. And Ramki also says fantastic presentation. Good. Okay. He says thank you, Jai Hind, and Solid Hedgie also says thank you. Thanks a lot. We love this video. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Uh, Tell us of strategic location of Andaman Nicobar. I'll do a program on it separately. Okay. What is the difference between Pralay and BrahMos? See, Pralay is a ballistic vehicle, semi-ballistic. It goes out into the atmosphere and comes back, launched vertically. Whereas the BrahMos is a cruise missile. Okay, that's the difference. Sir, I heard Indian missiles cover more distance than they are projecting officially to keep some of their friends like in. I agree with it. And of course, certain, like I told you, the range of a missile increases with time up to a point because of the hills simulation you keep doing. This is a nice one. All the missiles you talked about is after acquiring it, and people have to pay for it. For Pakistan, it's free of cost, delivered at the postal address which we want. Yeah, good. General feels so proud of Pralay. Unbelievable, like a Top Gun moment in morning session. Thanks for explaining. Yeah, actually, I spent a lot of time with these missiles. It's not only in the formative stages, later also as a DGRT, I had a lot of action on these. He says, GR and GAN, he says 6-0. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not 6-0, it's 11-0 or 9-0. That's the actual count. Okay. Yeah. Logging in late, catching up from the beginning, looking forward to this presentation. Interesting. Yeah, it would be interesting. Have a full this thing, right? Yeah. Trump is trying to destroy India's economy. Let me tell you something, all of you. Neither Trump nor his father-in-law or mother-in-law can destroy India's economy. Be very clear. We've gone through many more sanctions and all that. We have had no problem. We've still grown. We will grow. It, that no mother's son can stop that from happening. We might not grow so fast, but what you don't grow fast, you'll innovate now. So when things change, you'll grow faster. Then. So just relax, and that's why I said we'll talk in the evening with a whole lot of others also, and you'll get a better idea about uh, the whole story. And Raghu says, would like to have you and Sri IRG do a live cast in Telugu. I suggest you tell him because once we wanted to start a Telugu channel, it didn't work out for many things. But I don't mind doing it. Yes, Ashok also says yes for a Telugu podcast. I'm prepared to do it. It's Sri here. I'll speak to him today. Okay, and Arjuna Vach comes and says, Jai Hind, thanks a lot. And thanks a lot to all of you who attended today. Again, if you liked Gunner Shot, press the like button and also subscribe to Gunner Shot. Till evening, have a great day and Jai Hind to all of you.